YouTube and F and True followers? This is JC Styles.
Brian Crazy.
And here we are with the returning F and True Q&A. We got about about 19 to 21 questions, give or take. We went through our questions and we picked out the best ones. There's a couple of people that sent us multiple questions in different comments, but we only picked the ones that that
we picked the ones
that have to do with recent storylines or something that we thought that was really cool or really interesting to answer.
Exactly. We tried to make sure everybody was covered. Like JC said, guys out there that had 6 to 8 questions submitted. We tried to pick a couple from everybody. Everybody, we are proud to say, everybody that left a comment on the Return of Q&A promo that JC created for you guys will have their question answered here tonight.
Thank you. And do you want to get right into it?
Sure. Our first question is from our subscriber by the name of Antoine M. Dillard. Give him a quick plug. He does fantastic graphic work. He did the graphic work at the beginning of this video, so please check out his channel.
It's in the description box.
It sure is. And Antoine's question is, what do you guys think of the possibility of Triple H versus The Miz at this year's WrestleMania?
What do you guys think? I answered this question in a reply comment, basically saying I don't know what's going to happen because as I was reading that Triple H isn't booked for any upcoming events with the exception of the house show on March 19th, which is carded subject to change, as you guys know. It's supposed to be a full street fight between Triple H and Sheamus. As far as anything else, that's as far as I know that he's going to be doing booking because he has been booking for a lot of the house shows and appearances because he's trying to learn the insight of the business for when his father-in-law Vince retires and hangs up his hat beside,
Yeah, I think by bringing Triple H back and letting him headline one last WrestleMania would be a great idea, but in the same right, I think it would kind of take away from the push they've been giving to the younger guys. Do I think The Miz has what it takes to really carry the main event at WrestleMania? No. I think we'll end up seeing another, cheap finish in a heel victory.
The biggest show on the the Showcase of the Immortals, as it was once called.
I think it still is the Showcase of the Immortals, but
they said that Triple H isn't completely done, but they want to limit his in-ring appearances. But let's see what happens. I mean, you never know with the WWE that nothing is unsure. So our next question comes from, our next couple of questions come from Clown4740. Do you guys think that Edge and Christian should reunite as a tag team for a while, or should they just leave them as is?
I think when they cut that promo last month at the Slammy Awards, Edge and Christian, I think there was a lot of hype to see them back together. I think it felt good. It felt natural. They're a team that had so much chemistry in the past, and but in the same right, the WWE needs strong singles competitors. They need Edge to carry the torch right now, and I think they need Christian, to be honest, to carry the torch. This man is a former NWA heavyweight champion. He has what it takes to become either the WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. And if that's something they don't see him for, why not cement him as a strong mid to high carder, give him a chance at the Intercontinental Championship? I'm sure him and Kofi could tear the roof off.
For a lot of you guys who play the wrestling video games, know that I believe when you play Christian's Road to WrestleMania, you do a lot of stuff in the beginning, and then you get a lot of classic Edge and Christian moments. I think for the wrestling fans like me and Brian, and how we were into the tag team wrestling in the 90s, really enjoyed that Road to WrestleMania, but I think that was WWE's way of saying this is as close as you're really going to get to Edge and Christian being together again. I would love to see it. I think it would do great for the tag team division in WWE right now because there isn't really much tag teams. You can't really take odds and end tag teams and just throw them together and expect them to work. You need a tag team that can do, that has the chemistry in and outside of the ring, and that's what WWE is lacking in the tag team division.
I thought one of the best tag teams, not to stray too much, but I think one of the best tag teams we saw come out out of 2010 was the Dashing ones, Dashing Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. And WWE dropped the ball on that after, what, a month?
What about the Hart Dynasty? Even though, given your hatred of Tyson Kidd,
the Hart Dynasty was a fantastic team. Just he needs to shave that stupid thing off his head.
Cost cutters, $10.
$10, man.
I
think my wife's place is running a promotion. You get $10 off. My wife is a hairdresser, by the way. I think her place is running a promotion where you get $10 off.
You want to take the next question from Clown?
Sure.
4740?
Clown 4740s. Next question is better group, DX or the New World Order? To be honest, yeah, they were competing stables at the same time period, but I mean, the New World Order was about control and domination. DX was more about... DX really... In the early days of DX, they really weren't in the main event scene. They were mid-carders. They were more about being rebellious and anti...
Well, that all changed up until when Shawn Michaels won the WWF Championship.
Yeah, but I mean, even DX after Shawn Michaels' departure, when we had, the five members,
true.
Chyna, Triple H, X-Pac, and New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. I mean, they were a fun-loving group. It wasn't until you saw them turn heel in 2000 with the McMahon Helmsley faction. But I mean, even then, they were still always busting ass and having fun.
But I think to what he's trying to get is, what group? I don't know if I'm understanding the question or not.
Oh, he's saying what's a better group?
What's a better group?
I was trying to. I thought he was more comparing differences. I'm sorry.
I know you. The NWA. Okay, the NWA. I'm sorry. The NWO, hands down, was a great faction or stable. I think actually it's a stable when it's maybe 2 to 3 members. It becomes a faction when it's 5 or more. The NWO had like 10 to 12 wrestlers.
What? There was like 20 dudes in the NWO.
Well,
that could have been its own wrestling company.
Yeah. The NWO by far was a great success in WCW. I think that giving in the WCW, the NWO was great, and giving in WWE or WWF at the time. I'm just gonna call it the WWF. In the WWF at the time, DX was great. So I mean,
excuse me,
you can't really compare the two. And then when you had the NWO the NWO come to the WWE in 2002, DX was kind of long gone. And then you had Shawn Michaels take the helm for a little bit, and then NWO, and then just kind of seen
you saw
slowly disintegrate.
You saw Shawn Michaels and you saw Waltman. Both. So you saw 2 members of the former D-Generation X and an NWO kind of crossover group. And I mean, I think that's when the NWO was actually the strongest, when it had Shawn Michaels and Booker and Waltman and Show. I think that, only with the inclusion of Shawn Michaels, I think that was as close to the original group, with the exception of the Outsiders and Hogan off the bat that you were going to get. Do you think we should move on to the next one?
Yes. Again, subscriber Clown 4740. Do you think AJ Styles will turn face? Right now, the way things are going, I think they're going to continue to keep him a heel. From what I've read ahead, there's a possibility that he might turn face and team with the Main Event Mafia. Maybe it's a possibility. Maybe at that time he'll become a face. But as of right now, I don't think they have any plans on turning AJ face, turning him to a good guy anytime soon. So we'll only have time will tell. I mean, it's only January, and we got a whole another month of wrestling before anything else really is happening.
Yeah, I mean, my take on this is that they are changing the pay-per-view schedule around this year. Destination X and Victory Road will be changing spots, so we're going to see Victory Road in March of this year. So I think if we're going to see any big changes with stables or factions or members, I think they'll really be cemented there. I think that's even possibly when we could see the return of the Main Event Mafia, which we'll cover a little bit later in this vid. I believe we have a question from one of our subscribers about the Main Event Mafia. But kind of my opinion on AJ Styles turning heel is this.
Turning face.
Turning face, excuse me, turning heel, he's been a heel. Is turning face, who would be, the A-list star in Fortune?
Well, right now, I mean, the way it looks, he's basically on the back burner because he's been losing as of late.
Yeah, he's on the back burner with Bischoff. The way Flair's been defending him. So I think that's Flair's boy, and I really think Flair sees something in AJ Styles. You know, out of all the guys that he could have picked when he came into TNA that first night, where did he go right into? AJ's locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew exactly who he wanted to invest in. So I think for right now, unless something catastrophic happens or they really, just churn on AJ, I think we're going to see him in fortune for a little while to come.
You want to take the next one?
Sure. Favorite match of all time. This is the last question from Clown4740. We still have more questions, so don't turn off the video yet. Favorite match of all time. Now, this is a hard one. I've got a couple that I've been pondering in my head since we sat down to start this video, so I'm going to let JC take it first, and then I'm going to go back to me.
Favorite match of all time. If, like what Brian said, we have so many favorite matches. I'll just name 3 of my favorites. Number 1, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12 for the WWF Championship 60-minute Iron Man match. Phenomenal. Was probably one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. I enjoyed it. I think my second favorite match was Stone Cold versus The Rock, WrestleMania 15 for the WWF Championship. I think this match was another great match. Great showmanship by The Rock. Great showmanship by Austin. And then last but not least, my third favorite match of all time would probably have to say Shawn Michaels Undertaker from WrestleMania 25, not WrestleMania 26, WrestleMania 25.
That was a better match.
25 was way better than 26. Brian,
which is me and JC. In case you guys don't know, it's me and JC's current going tradition we have for the last several years, and we used to when we were younger as kids. We sit down. If it's the one pay-per-view we get to watch together, it's WrestleMania. And my favorite matches of all time. One coming from WrestleMania 15, Austin versus The Rock. We saw The Rock take 4 Stone Cold Stunners in this match.
Yes.
We saw 4 referees in this match. It was over half an hour. I think it was close to 45 minutes, to be honest. This is how he used to work. And unfortunately, not many matches really guys were able to work like this it took a couple years to get back to this point. Another favorite match, the Invasion culmination at the Survivor Series 2001, the Big 10-man. Oh my God, that was well booked. Tell me it wasn't. Kurt Angle turned his back and went back with Vince. I just remember Kurt playing, the little ukulele. That was freaking classic.
Doing crack corn and I don't care.
Another great match, The Rock and Triple H. They did a cage match on Monday Night Raw. I don't know if you guys remember that, but God, that was a great match. And to watch it on Raw was simply fantastic. And for my last closing one, I know I picked mostly from 99 to 2001, but I think back, and that was my fondest memories of wrestling. A lot of you
that
guys.
was when wrestling was at its greatest.
Yeah, I think it was. I think wrestling was very, very good in the 70s, 80s, 90s. But in the 2000s, it just started to go downhill. But I think there is a chance. We've seen so many great independent federations. We've seen the WWE turn the story around. TNA starting to turn around this, that, and the other. But for my last match, a lot of you guys probably haven't seen this. This has never been released on DVD nor tape. Over the Edge, 1999. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. The Undertaker did win the WWF Championship. This was right after Owen Hart died earlier in the night. He was still alive when they took him out of the arena. He fell 70 feet from the ceiling.
If you want, well, basically,
just to finish off what I was going to say, they were going to stop the event, but what do you do when 20,000 people just saw somebody pretty much fall to their death? You got to try to distract them. You can't send these people home upset. That could just be a disaster in itself. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
If you want more information on this, I know there's not a lot of information you can get about that pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett, not to talk about, to plug TNA for a couple minutes. Jeff Jarrett's King of the Mountain DVD. As we all know, there's a 4-disc set. I currently hold possession of that DVD. It's probably one of, it's up there in my top 5 favorite TNA DVDs of all time. Check it out. There is a lot of information that they give. They give about the incident with Owen Hart. Also, they did resuscitate him and bring him back twice. check it out. Maybe you could probably catch a couple of glimpses on YouTube of it.
You definitely can, because funny enough, I was looking around this morning and I stumbled across a couple clips from it.
You might want to check that out. So it's a very good DVD. Unfortunately, I still haven't gotten a chance to watch it all the way through, dude. It's like 12 hours worth of wrestling. Even if I watch it a disc a day, it's hard. So before we get into the next thing, one of our buddies of ours, XBA 325.
Hope that toe gets better, man.
Yeah, I hope that I hope the toe gets better. And being that you can't do it, we're gonna keep the the tradition going. It's not a Pepsi, but it's, if you can see, it's a Coca-Cola. So, bang. That's for you. Get better, man. Hopefully you'll be able to do it.
Oh yeah, brother. Feel better.
This comes from subscriber Terminator 1984 Terminator, and also a combo question from Clown 4740. Possibility of the Nexus versus the Corre at WrestleMania.
For you guys that don't know, the Corre is the new name of the SmackDown Nexus faction. The Nexus name will be kept on Raw with CM Punk's faction. They're going to call, like I said, the Barrett faction the Corre. I think it goes back to they're the core members of the Nexus, because, I mean, on Raw you only have Otunga and Sheffield, who's on injury, left. Do I think that there's going to be a fight between these guys at WrestleMania? Oh, hell yeah. I definitely think that's what they're planning towards.
Oh, excuse me. You can continue talking. I'm pounding this shit out real quick.
Yo, this dude can drink that whole ass soda in about 30 seconds. Bang. That might be in our shot, You think people want to look at Coca-Cola for the whole night?
Let's just say this. When you try to chug Coca-Cola, it's not as smooth as Pepsi. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe that's the reason why XBA likes Pepsi so damn much.
Oh, yeah. Coca-Cola's burpy, man. I love Coke. I mean, if I pick the Coke or the Pepsi, I usually grab the Coke. I'm not going to lie, but it's burpy.
Let's, the possibility of Nexus versus the Corre, I would like to see it.
But what members would we see against, too?
That's exactly.
Will we see Mr. Perfect Jr. and McGillicuddy go against Slater and Gabriel? I guess.
Well, this will probably what it'll be. It'd actually be kind of cool. An elimination 6-man tag, maybe. You could take.
I'll take the whole group.
CM Punk, Otunga, or David Otuna, as our buddy CJ Styles would call him. And
ADTV, check them out. Just links in the description box.
David Otuna and who's the other jerk off?
Sheffield?
No. Michael Not So Perfect McGillicuddy.
Mr. Perfect Jr.?
Yeah. I
refuse to call the guy Michael McGillicuddy.
Probably 3. Those 3 against Barrett, Gabriel, and Slater. But
next question.
Let's take the next question.
From 1984 Terminator. If you had to pick one superstar to be in the WWE Hall of Fame out of these 3 superstars, who would you pick? Either Kurt Angle, Owen Hart, or the Macho Man Randy Savage?
Maybe we should answer this and together. 3, 2, 1. Owen Hart.
That is enough said. Owen Hart should have been inducted the year he passed away. I don't understand why they haven't. I know there's a big issue with the estate of Owen Hart about them using his name and his likeness, so I think that's probably one of the reasons he has not been inducted.
And why haven't? And you know what? And also the other thing about the situation, everything would be kind of cool if they were to induct Owen Hart this year. I would like to see the British Bulldog also inducted.
Exactly.
And I would think it'd be kind of cool because you know why?
His son can
induct him. Or his son, British Bulldog son could maybe do it. Maybe Owen Hart's son or daughter can induct him. Or, I mean, maybe some close personal friends in the business. I mean, like when they inducted Eddie Guerrero into the Hall of Fame, you had Vicky, you had Ray, and then you had Chavo. So
bring Brett in. Bring Brett in.
Brett's brother. Bring in the brother. Bring in a family relative.
Shit for the night.
A son.
And for the night, everybody knows how close Tyson Kidd. I might not like the guy too much. And my jokes about Tyson Kidd are limited to his character that he plays on TV. I have no legitimate beef with, the person Tyson Kidd. I think his haircut is stupid, and I think the way they're taking his character is a little shitty. But you know, he needs to, if they were to induct, he was so involved with this family, if they were to induct one of these greats.
But he's not a Hart. I would want to see a Hart.
He was trained by the Harts, though.
Well, he's not by blood. He's not a Hart.
He's not by blood, he's not, but he's very close. He's going to
end up being there. To be honest, the only reason why he's close to the Hart family is because he grew up, he didn't grow up, but he started dating Natalia Neidhart, and that's how he had a passion for wrestling, and that's how he got into the business.
I think he was trained in the dungeon before he started going out with Natalia. But that's we're getting.
I don't know. I would rather see maybe British Bulldog son and maybe see Brett, but I wouldn't want to see Tyson Kidd.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Macho Man in the WCW Hall of Fame?
No, he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's never been part of the WWE Hall of Fame.
No, WCW, I was saying. But no,
he hasn't been inducted into the WCW Hall of Fame.
I think what I was thinking is he asked for his father, Angelo, to be inducted, and Gordon Soley had a huge problem with that. You know, Gordon Soley, Mr. Suplee. Moving on, next question is from subscriber. Make sure I get his name right. BHHS Boy 1. Since the news of a possible return of the Main Event Mafia, do you think all of the stars like Booker T and Sting will return? If not, who would you want to replace them?
Well, my biggest problem is TNA is trying to keep secret of Kevin Nash coming back. First off, why would you keep something like that secret? Because the only people that really would want to see Kevin Nash return, with the exception of Brian, are the old school fans. And I'm not saying, okay, I'm not, granted, I used to. No, I'm not. I used to like Nash when he was part of the Wolfpack in WCW, when he was part of the NWO. But when they left the WCW, and then even when he came back briefly in 2003, 2002, 2003, and he did a feud with Triple H for a little bit, it was all for that. But from the time he stepped foot into TNA, that's when You didn't like the Kings of Wrestling? I didn't like the Kings of Wrestling. I didn't like the Big Sexy Tour. I mean, dude, you're pushing 50 years old. But you really think people care about the Big Sexy Tour? It was cool when it was in WCW, when you were like maybe 35,
But to be honest,
40.
though, I mean, hey, give the guy some credit, though. You know, just like a fine wine, some things get better with age. And
dude, if you want to take Kevin Nash out of the picture, hit him in his hip.
But to be honest, though, I mean, I think he's polished himself.
I think there's someone...
His in-ring ability, he's never had the largest moveset. But, I mean, you got a guy like... Here's a perfect example. I'm not a huge Cena mark, and I know Joey doesn't really like him much either. But you got a guy that got 5 moves, but I bet you that 90% of the fans that like Cena out there know all 5 of his moves and follow him faithfully.
But, I mean, if they were going to... Like I said, my answer to this question was... if I was to find anyone to replace Booker T, which you can't really replace Booker T.
No, you can't.
If they want to bring Booker T back, I'm fine by it, because you know why? Because I will always be a Booker T fan. I loved his stuff that he did with the Harlem Heat. I wish that when he came to the WWE, they would have picked up Stevie Ray and they would have brought the Harlem Heat back for a little while. And before her departure, before her passing, and before her departure, before her passing to Sensational Sherry, my father, enjoyed watching her, and so did I when I was a kid, especially when she was Shawn Michaels' manager. I think that would have been cool to see them come back. But like I said, you can't replace Booker T. If you're going to bring Booker T back, bring him Booker T back to when he first debuted in TNA. Sting's a toss-up right now, because basically there's a little bit of a bidding war on Sting because he is a free agent. TNA wants to re-sign him, I think, to another contract for the next year. WWE wants to try to get in contact with him for the Hall of Fame. Will he go? Will he not? Who knows? But like I said, if I was to choose anyone to replace anybody, I would pick Matt Morgan to replace Kevin Nash, but that's just me. Now we have subscriber Emmy Chells.
Oh, you didn't let me? Let me just finish off. If I had to replace any of those guys, obviously, just real quick, you see this Crimson guys kind of stood up. We know Steiner's coming back. Kurt Angle's cemented in the group. Possibly Morgan. Pope and Joe are off doing their own freaking thing right now.
So I don't think Joe's going to return.
We see Douglas Williams involved. I don't know if he's going to be involved in this group or maybe just kind of an ally to them. If AJ turns face, maybe. You know, a lot's up in the air right now. But I think we're definitely going to see the possibility of at least Steiner, Nash, and Angle. And Crimson.
Yeah, I want to see Booker T come back, but Booker T's doing the father thing. He's also booking like some of his stuff in Texas, his wrestling company he has down in Texas. Book, congratulations on having twins. I know that you're never going to see this video, but congrats. You know, you were one of the best, and we wish that you come back to the wrestling business. I just hope that they don't bring you back and have you do something stupid like at the last couple of months of your TNA contract when you had that stupid accent in TNA. I couldn't stand that, man.
Or King frickin' Booker.
King Booker? WWE has the rights to the King Booker thing.
So. Yeah, no, I'm just making an example of a horrible gimmick. King Booker?
MHLs, I don't know if it's supposed to sound like NHL. 118. What's the single best and greatest change that you've seen witnessed in the WWE in the time you've been watching? You know, there's so many things to choose from. I know Brian already has something picked out in mind, so I'm gonna let him do that while I think of maybe something.
I think one of the best storylines going was definitely the WCW ECW invasion and the alliance. I know I touched on it a little bit earlier in this video. It was just such a memorable time in wrestling for me. I enjoyed it so much. And then, you know, 6 months later, they start botching the company up. They release so many superstars. They do the brand extension. They changed it to WWE. And to be honest, my interest started waning after that. So this was some of the last fond memories of wrestling I had up until, you know, recently. And I think it was a fantastic angle. I think it was cut out too soon. And I think they focused too much on calling this group the Alliance. I think they should use more of the WCW symbols, more of the WCW established tag teams, more of this WCW established angles. And I think the best thing they could have done for this angle was, remember when they led Booker T main event Monday Night Raw, and they had it all WCW themed. They even changed the side of the ring, and that was the best thing they could have done for this company. But the thing is that at the time, WWE, WWF was in contract with Viacom. That was who was providing their television time, and they were very afraid of a Vince McMahon-led project other than WWE, seeming that he failed at the World Bodybuilding Federation and at the XFL. So they weren't really willing to let him expand into, you know, having WWE and WCW on competing networks or even on the same network. But they let him a year later, you know, I guess because he did it internally and divided his two pre-existing shows into two companies. They tried to kind of reenact the angle, quote unquote. But it was a great angle. Unfortunately, they cut it too soon, and they kind of misdid it a little bit, but I still enjoyed it a lot. JC?
Before I give my thing, the thing is, what I would have liked to have seen, maybe Shane McMahon, you know, purchased WCW from underneath his father. That set up a lot when WCW was bought by Shane McMahon. And if Shane hadn't bought, well, I don't think if WWE wouldn't have Vince McMahon, the McMahons, I'll just say the McMahons. If none of the McMahons would have purchased WCW, I believe that there would be no TNA, and I think WCW would still probably be around in some way or form in existence. Because from what and Jeff Jarrett said it in his DVD, like I said again, The King of the Mountain. You learn so much stuff from Jeff Jarrett. From his very first wrestling match when in his father's company. If he said if I would have had the money, or I think it might have been the Rise and Fall of WCW. It was either Jeff Jarrett TV or the Rise and Fall of WCW. And he said that someone said if they would have had the money that what Vince McMahon paid for the company, they would have bought the company. And it's true, because look at what Jeff Jarrett did for TNA, and if he was able to buy the WCW, it would have been amazing. I wasn't so much WCW up until the point with the NWO and Goldberg and the NWO Wolfpack, when I actually enjoyed watching Sting wrestle. But I think I strayed on too long. My biggest...
Well, just to finish it off real quick, if the WWE did not purchase WCW, there was a bid by a company called Fusion Media Ventures, who was led by Eric Bischoff at the time, and they did have offered intent.
I think that's who said it. I think that's probably who said it was Eric Bischoff. If he would have had the money, he would have purchased it.
Well, yeah, there was an offer on the table, and the problem is that due to an agreement that was signed in the past, that if they were ever to liquidate, WWF had the first right to buy WCW's property. Yeah. So that's where Bischoff ended up losing it. But they did say for a little while, you can have everything, you just can't have TV time. You can have the rings, you could have some of the talent, you could have the entrances, all the crap that comes along with it. But without television time, there's no show. And that's the problem TNA faced for the first couple of years. They had to go direct to pay-per-view because they could not get television time. But we did stray a little bit. We're going to move on.
First off, I didn't even get to say what I wanted to say about the question.
We're getting all confused here tonight.
I want to say I'm probably going to choose Brian's first original pick. The merging of the corporation and the Ministry of Darkness, when they formed the corporate ministry, I think that was pretty cool, because if it wasn't for the merging of the two groups by Shane McMahon, I wouldn't have gotten to see Stephanie McMahon put on the Undertaker cross at the Hartford Civic Center the night after, what was it?
Backlash. 1999.
Backlash. I would have seen and then The Rock getting out of the corporation also held in that thing. So I would think probably that'd be the greatest change. Probably, well, I don't want to say it's the greatest change, but probably maybe the biggest.
Well, I mean, the whole storyline that was set up for the first 5 months of that year changed so quickly. I mean, you saw McMahon as this weakened power, and it was so believable, and then he's behind the whole thing. I mean, I think they did cut that angle a little too short yet again. I think it devalued the Undertaker's power a little bit. The only problem I see with that, by making him subservient to the Undertaker. I mean, he's supposed to be the Lord of Darkness and all powerful, but at the end of the day, McMahon is still the big dog. Hey guys, we're back. Sorry about that. For some weird reason, with our current hardware we're using, we cannot exceed over a 32-minute video or we lose sound. For any of you that checked out the Best of WWE, same issue happened with that. So we are going to move on to the next question now. It comes from our boy Ryan down in Maryland, LSV Tech B18C1. Do you think that John Morrison deserves to be the champion? Do you think he has the skills to take it
and run with the
belt? Sorry, text is a little small on the screen, guys. More so than the Miz. Just to take this real quick, I've got a real quick, simple answer for this one. Yes. Morrison needs a little more development in mic skills, but I mean, his in-ring ability outshadows the Miz any day of the week.
We were doing answering these questions out loud before we started doing the video. Yes. Does Morrison deserve to be champion? Yes. Do I think he has the skills to take it and run with the belt? Of course. More so than the Miz, I could probably out-wrestle the Miz, and I have no wrestling experience. But you know what? I want to see Morrison win it. Maybe 2011 will be the era of the Prince of Parkour.
No wrestling experience? We used to wrestle every day after school.
Maybe it'll be the Shaman of Sexy's time. The Shaman of Sexy, the Monday Night Delight. I can't. I like Morrison. The guy's just like he's WWE's AJ Styles. Let's just put it that way.
Joey's been thinking about getting a tattoo of him on his arm.
No, I haven't. Also, if my taxes, speaking of AJ, I have a belt. I have an idea for a belt, and I know what belt I want to get.
Play ball.
If I have enough money to pull off 2 belts, I will have a surprise for you come late February. So, guys, keep posted. Also, what are your thoughts on Waltman, Nash, Booker T, and others going to the Hall of Fame to cheer and show their appreciation for Shawn? Waltman turned around and basically commented that on his Twitter page, we're basically stating that good for Shawn. Maybe we'll go make a trip up there to go see him, go see Shawn. It'll be the first time the Kliq has been there together since 2002. For those of you who don't know, the Kliq basically revolved around Diesel, Triple H, X-Pac, and Shawn Michaels. Those were the four Kliq. Those were the Kliqs. I think basically Brian said in another video that Triple H was basically punished because of this incident in Madison Square Garden, where they all said goodbye and basically told the crowd live at MSG that these guys were leaving to go to WCW. So
yeah, I mean that's when the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, left WWE or WWF at the time for the WCW. They broke kayfabe, which is the line that's drawn between the real world and what happens on the television show. Yeah. They all embraced in the ring. The Kliq was very, very, very powerful back in the day. They held a lot of the booking power backstage. They were in good favor with Vince McMahon. They swayed his opinion heavily.
Basically, DX was Shawn Michaels, was Triple H's baby, and Vince told Triple H no. And, well, you know, Triple H and Shawn went and did it anyway. Check out Triple H, the King of Kings. It actually describes how that came about. And also Shawn Michaels, The Heartbreaking Triumph, and the Shawn Michaels My Journey DVD also talks about that. I kind of wish I was there for that. I think that was the night I was supposed to go to Madison Square Garden to see wrestling, and my grandfather had passed away. So, I mean, it's a 3.5-hour show or my grandfather's funeral. So obviously I went to my grandfather's funeral because my grandfather, me and my grandfather sat down and used to watch Saturday Night Wrestling at Shotgun Saturday Night. My grandfather used to sit down and used to watch WCW Saturday nights at 6 o'clock when it was
6:05 on TBS.
So I think if it wasn't for my father and my grandfather, I probably wouldn't have the passion I have right now for for wrestling. So, you know, I want to thank my grandfather and my father for that.
Very well said.
Mike isn't God, I think it's.
Mike isn't God? Okay.
Okay.
You're just a normal man walking among us? That's fine with me.
Do either of you, I'm sorry, do either of you think that the WWE will put an end to this PG wrestling?
No.
No. And the reason why is because if, you know, John Cena, you know, from 2003, I think it was. No, yeah, since 2003, early 2003, came to the WWE. I think that's when WWE started, you know, trying to put, you know, to rest all the hardcore and graphic content. Actually, I was on Facebook the other day and I was, you know, looking through people people you may know, and I came across Zach Gowen. And a lot of you who don't know, Brian doesn't really know of him. He was a one-legged wrestler. He lost his leg to cancer when he was a kid. He had a brief stint in the WWE. Then he went over to TNA and competed as an X Division wrestler. And I said, hey, you know, I said to him, I was like, hey, Zach, I just want to let you know that, you know, you gave a lot of people with physical attribute problems something to look into when you were wrestling. You had such a huge following, and it sucks that your career in WWE didn't last. He actually replied to me and said, you know, Joseph, thanks. It's good to hear that, you know, that I was an inspiration to people. You know, this guy's not wrestling anymore, I don't think, and, you know, for him to take time out of his day to send me an email like that, you know, so, you know, thanks, Zach Gowen. But
that sounds so cool. I might actually have to, you know, you have to send me the link to his page.
So
and check out a little more. But just to sum up the PG era of wrestling, the issues with this are this. Just to sum it up in a quick 30 seconds so we can move on to the next question. First of all, for you guys that don't know, SmackDown has been a PG product since 1999. It was on network television, had to be. That's where a lot of the problems, if you remember the group Right to Censor, it was a mockery of the Parents Television Council, who was giving the WWE a real hard time at this point. Remember, we had The Godfather go to The Good Father, Stevie Richards, Ivory, you know, so on and so forth. I think the thing is that WWE used to be a PG product. They only pushed the envelope to compete during the Attitude Era, compete with ECW and WCW. Once they went out, you know, from these companies and became, you know, pretty much the only North American wrestling promotion into, we saw, Total Nonstop Action emerge. They felt comfortable going back to what they used to know. Linda's trying to become a senator from the recent news.
And she's also may rerun again in 2012.
She might run for the second. So Connecticut only has 2 Senate seats. We don't have the highest population here. We're a small state. And she lost election late last year. And she might try to go for the other senator seat now that he's announced his retirement. So, unfortunately, I think PG is to stay to kind of, that ended up being a little bit longer.
They could push the envelope, but not to the point where people are getting cracked over the heads and live sex shows on TV and stuff like that.
Last week, Orton was bleeding. Right from his shoulder for 1 second. Then they framed back from it, and I was like, come on, zoom in. I want to see how bad he's hurt.
Take the next question.
I couldn't even see how bad the guy was hurt. I was hoping he had a nice gash or something. What do you guys think of TNA bringing Matt Hardy into the Immortals and bringing the Hardy Boys, I know they call them the Hardy Brothers, but who cares, back to the big tag team scene as heels, even only for a little while? It's been over 3 years since, except for their stint in TNA last week. I think it's long overdue. Matt Hardy's not looking like he's in the best of shape, though, to be honest. I mean, I think
give him a couple of months on TV and a couple of hours in the gym a week. He'll be back to his old.
He looks like he's in worse shape though than when he was in WWE. I hope the best for Matt. I think Matt's always got.
I mean, well, think about it. They were beating the hell out of Matt for Jeff Hardy's success in TNA.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what it was. He was being punished for the whole year that he stayed. And
I think basically what was going on was I think Jeff was trying to bring Matt to TNA a lot sooner, and I think Matt was looking for a way out of his WWE contract so he can go and be with his brother earlier last year. I think if WWE would have let WWE would have let Matt Hardy go a lot sooner, I think that we could have probably seen him part as they unveiling at Bound for Glory at 10-10-10.
Maybe we could have saw his debut at Bound for Glory. Very possible. The way it's turned out now, though, that he is in TNA, he's signed to a contract. I've heard that there's been a little flack from some of the guys backstage, though, that TNA supposedly was not bringing in any new talent. They've let go a lot of talent this year. They've let go Homicide. They let go Taylor Wilde. They let go.
They let go a lot of wrestlers, but just because they got let go doesn't mean that they're not wrestling. I mean, Homicide's back over at ROH where he started.
No. But they. What I'm saying is they let go a lot of talent, and I guess the feeling backstage is, why did all of our other brothers go just to bring in Jeff Hardy's brother? I mean, even though Matt is deserving, Matt's always gotten the shit out of the stick, and I wish the best for him. But next question.
This is actually a pretty good question, but we did do a video about it. What was, in your eyes, the best moments in 2010 for the WWE? We did a vid. Check it out. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We'll put the link in the description box. Second part was and TNA, respectively. Well, Brian wants to pick something different. There was 2 things in 2010 that I really enjoyed seeing. Actually 3. One was the introduction debut of Mr. Anderson at TNA Genesis. Also, a couple of months later, what was the pay-per-view after Lockdown? Or was it the pay-per-view before Lockdown? No, it was after Lockdown.
It was Destination X, Lockdown.
The birth of the assholes. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
That was another favorite moment of mine. And then I want to say 10-10-10, the birth of they.
Yeah, my birthday, man. That was a great pay-per-view. Me and Joey watched it together. Yeah.
I think that was the first TNA pay-per-view that me and Brian actually sat down and watched. And he was actually, and I want to say something, okay? And I don't want Brian to get pissed off with me. As of late, Brian's got the kids, so he's up early in the morning, and usually by about 10 o'clock, he's sitting in his chair watching, depending on what night it is, he's either watching something on his computer or he's watching something on TV. He sits in his chair and he drifts off. And that's over years, of working and then being home and not, and working at home. So for this guy to come up and actually, you know, sit up and watch wrestling with me, you know, and stay up through the whole thing was, you know, pretty cool. And me and Brian try to, you know, do stuff like that as, you know, friends because, like I said, we've been friends for like 14 years.
Exactly. It's been an awesome road. We hope that it'll just keep going. And here's an interesting fact. I am 24 years old, and I have 3 sons. But if you add my sons' 3 ages together, I have 10 years combined of child bringing up experience already. So you can imagine how tired that makes me. I've also, you know,
he was in a car accident a couple of years ago for work, and
then me and JC
the medication that they've been giving
and then
him.
Almost a year to the frickin' date, me and JC ended up cracking up my Acura. Not to say anything bad about the woman, she was elderly. She pulled out in front of us. She stopped short. She got scared. Unfortunately, completely destroyed my act. If you guys are friends with me on Facebook, you can check out some pics. It's a pretty cool 92 act that I had done up real nice. JC helped me out with a lot of the stuff on it. And it was a damn shame, too, because we just got it. Me and him went to the DMV and got it registered, like 2 hours before?
Yeah, and basically, we were gonna take a trip up to Best Buy. I had gotten paid the day before, and Brian had promised that we were gonna go up to Best Buy and to GameStop and everything, and we were going to get food for the kids, and from there we were going to drop the food off and head to Best Buy, and lady pulled out in front of us, you know. Unfortunately, Brian got a really big settlement out of it. I got somewhat of a settlement. I bought the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, which is still for sale. I haven't had any...
guys, the restaurant I went to was here. My mom's house was like here. It's on the same road. I live at the other end of town. The end of town I live at, there's not too much, to be honest. So we're going down the road. I'm telling you, we're a block from the restaurant. You know, I could see my mom's house from where I crashed my car.
Yeah.
You know,
the belt is for sale. I got 2 offers, but right now one offer is it's up in the air because he's got to see what's going to happen in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I hope I'm not speaking for you, but what we're talking about, any guys that are out there that have either a Big Winged Eagle or any TNA titles, which we only know there's the World and the X Division, contact JC. He might be willing for a trade, depending on what you got, maybe a little cash on top from you guys, or, you know, if you guys got something crazy, re-leather.
That's a deluxe belt. That goes easily for $453. With shipping and everything, I'm willing to let it go.
That's a pretty arbitrary figure.
I think I'm willing to let it go for $300. The Winged Eagle belt. So we want to get right back into the video. What the hell? Anything big that you guys are looking forward to in 2011 wrestling wise? I want to see, you know what, for one thing, I want to see WWE put on a 5-star pay-per-view from beginning to end. And the same thing for TNA. I don't want no, you know, 1 match, 2, 3 matches here that make it a good pay-per-view. No, I want all 5 matches on the card, if 6 or 7. I know WrestleMania is coming up, so they're probably going to have like 8 to 9 matches on the card. I want that to be a 5-star pay-per-view.
WrestleMania. What's with SmackDown with 3 or 4 matches a night? Come on, load up the card a little bit. Excuse me, guys. God, that could got me gassy.
WrestleMania 15. We had what was it? A 15-man. What was it? A 10-man hardcore battle royal?
Or was that 16?
I don't know, but that match. Then we had
15. That was great. We had an IC match. We had a hardcore match. We had a tag match. We had a title match.
Big Show versus Mankind
for
the ref match. You know, we had so many good matches. You know, WrestleMania 12. You know, 5-star matches. Brian, you want to take this one?
Okay, our next question comes from a newer subscriber, the Jim John 89. What do you think about Christian returning and winning the Rumble and going to face Edge at WrestleMania? Unfortunately, we really can't go too much into this one because we found out information today that Christian is injured. Well, obviously he's been injured. He is still pretty seriously injured. He hasn't been booked for any dates as far as we know of. They're taking it day to day for now.
Day to day, but he isn't scheduled to do anything until after WrestleMania.
Into after WrestleMania. So unfortunately,
which kind of sucked. I really wanted to see Edge. I really wanted
when we
to see
got our predictions
Christian.
early in the week, we really hyped up. Hopefully, Christian would return.
And then I was kind of hoping to see, because me and Brian are going to see the the WWE House show in a couple of weeks. On March 18th, and I was kind of hoping to see Christian, maybe bump into him outside and be like, "Hey, yo, I watched you when you were in the WWE. I enjoyed your years in TNA, and now that you're back in the WWE, and I hope the best for you." And I might not even be able to get that. And me and Brian are also upset because of the street fight with Sheamus and Triple H. Why wouldn't they do that for Connecticut? So
yeah, it's a shame because it doesn't seem like we get too many great venues here, even though this is the home of the WWE.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring you the last question because I'm going to look over at the clock real quick. It is 9 o'clock here in Connecticut.
And TNA is going on.
Exactly. And we kind of interested about finding out what happens, so we're just going to bang through this, spend about a minute, and do our close-up for you guys. This question comes from 9000 Extreme. How do you think the storyline with the group of Barrett, Gabriel, Slater, and Jackson will play out? We found out that this group has been named the Corre. I hope that they show some of the same brutality that the original Nexus showed. I think this is a great way to bring a new dynamic to SmackDown.
If
there are no real factions on SmackDown.
No. And if I think this, if I should have said this earlier, when we answered the question about possible Corre versus Nexus at WrestleMania, I think they should turn around and face, if they're gonna face them at WrestleMania, do a match. Be like, hey, if we beat you, we get the rights to the Nexus name. Because to be honest with you, the Nexus. The new Nexus is just a mock version of the Straight Edge Society. So that's why I made a comment in my Monday Night Raw review that, that it's a Straight Edge Nexus. And that's exactly what it is. It's not Nexus, it's Straight Edge Nexus. It's CM Punk's rendition of bringing back the Straight Edge Society.
I miss calling them that the NWO, the Nexus Wolfpack, man. So I got a couple good comments on that one. But
the next question,
I think we kind of answered the next question because what do you think that WWE is going to do with SmackDown's Nexus?
The Corre, and do you think it will last? I want to see it last. I want to see it last to WrestleMania. Like I said again, maybe do something with the new Nexus on Raw and battle for the right of the name. We had this situation back about a decade ago. With Triple H in China against X-Pac and the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, when
the rights for the D-Generation
for the D-Generation X stuff, and they wound up winning and getting there from the keeping all the stuff. So, guys, this has only been our second Q&A. Well, no, we only did one last year.
We did two.
We did one vid that was 3 parts.
We did 2 videos. There was a 3-parter and then a 4-parter.
But yeah,
unfortunately, they didn't get too many views, guys. So we did keep them up for you guys to check out. If we see that we get some views on them, we'll leave them up. Me and JC were discussing that the other day about maybe taking down some of the library, but we decided
to keep it up. For our newer subscribers, I want to go back and check out our little, well, as we like to call it, our rough stuff, because back then we weren't as
as polished
and formatted like we are now.
Just one last quick tidbit. We used to, guys, if we did not have an issue with copyright infringement, we'd probably have well over 150 videos up for you guys right now. We have close to 100 again. But if you do look back, we pretty much covered the year from last. I think the earliest video up is somewhere in July. We started in May, but we have videos from July to current covering all great topics in wrestling. If you're feeling a little nostalgic, go back and check some of them out. But we're going to close this out. We're going to go watch some Total Nonstop action.
Again, the belt, my World Heavyweight Championship belt, is on sale. I'm selling it for $300 or asking for best offer. Or trade, depending on the condition of your belt.
No cardboard belts, no Mattel belts. Don't even send a message.
No, not even Mattel belts. If you have a Big Eagle gold belt that you want to trade for,
I was joking. I said no Mattel.
Oh, yeah, no joke. Yeah, no Mattel.
That's no joke.
If you're willing to trade for a big gold the Big Ego, I'm sorry. Hit me up and let me know. Like I said, I'm willing to trade. Depending on the pictures, I want to see some quality. I want to make sure because, regardless, I'm going to get the belt re-leathered off AJS belts. I'm just really disenchanted with the World Heavyweight Championship. This is my own opinion. Version 2.
Which is
it comes with the velvet carrying bag, the certificate of authenticity. It does have my name on it, but it's an interchangeable nameplate, which I still have the blank one.
Oh, come on. You know you want JCFF and Drew's namesake. I beat him for the belt, boy.
So hit me up, make me an offer. There is a couple offers on the table. I just got to figure something out.
You said hit you up.
In message box.
Oh.
So, I'm JC Styles of F and True Wrestling. Pro wrestling is real. People are fake. And
the one and only
Mr. Anderson.
And I am the one and only Brian Crazy. We appreciate everything you guys have contributed to F and True Wrestling. More to come in 2011. And, it's starting to get really exciting, guys. We're gaining subscribers by the day. I come home every day, and there's comments to answer. There's stuff to think about. And believe it or not, when we first started this, it used to take about 10 minutes to check everything. Now, sometimes I see myself sitting down for close to an hour just answering comments.
And when we reply back to comments, we get instant reply backs.
We try to reply to every single comment, guys. I hope that you noticed that. I felt like we were lacking a little bit late last year. Something me and JC talked about. We're trying to get to every single comment that comes in. All of you guys are important to us. So, have a great night. Enjoy Impact. This will be up soon, probably post-Impact.
And we will also bring you another video later on, Impact review, as the show goes off the air. So check that out. Again, we're F and True Wrestling. This has been F and True Q&A, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.